Rebuilding a Stuart Major Beam engine, part 14. Fitting the engine to the brick plinth, and after drilling some pilot holes, I attached the plinth to the baseboard using brass screws. Making some long studs to hold the bed plate to the plinth, tapping some 2BA holes in the top of the plinth, followed by strengthening the thread in the wood using CA glue. Fitting and piping the water pump. This episode starts off with me drilling a pilot hole through the baseboard into the brick covered part which supports the engine. And once the pilot hole's been drilled, I'm going to use a brass screw to secure the main baseboard to the part that the engine sits on. It's time now to screw in the brass screw, and I really should have drunk my cup of tea first, which is now going cold, but never mind. So I'm screwing it in with a screwdriver, trying to do the authentic thing, and I thought to myself, no. This is, of course, the 21st century, so it's possibly a good idea to use a power tool. So here I am using my trusty drill, piloting the holes and screwing in the brass screws. Far easier than using a screwdriver. These are some 2BA bolts that I bought a while back, slot-headed 2BA bolts to be exact, and I put these in the chuck of my smaller of the two lathes that I have, which is a little Boxford AUD, and I just machine off the heads like this. I don't bother chopping the head off square with a parting tool or anything, because these small pieces will just get lost in the bottom of the hole anyway. These are going to become the studs that hold the engine down onto the brick-covered plinth. However, there are 12 of these to make, and it really is very boring doing it, but it's not too bad watching it back. It's not as boring as actually doing the job. I do not like repetition. Even repetition like this, it's repetitive. I've now lost count of how many of these I've done, but it must be nearly there. I'm sure the last one will go horrendously wrong, or I'll drop it on the floor and never find it again. But thankfully, not in this case. I now have 12 studs all ready to mount to the base. I'm going to push them around on the baseboard and engage smug mode. There are several different ways of mounting engines to baseboards. You can use wood screws, they look really bad. You can use studs like this that actually go into the wood and then the engine sits on top of the studs. The problem with this engine is because the studs are going to be going into the wood, they're not likely to be perfectly aligned. And as this engine is very heavy, I just do not want to hover it over the studs and run the risk of damaging the top of the studs, so I'm going to do it in a really weird way. First of all, as you've just seen, I've been tapping the holes 2BA, and now, as I've described before in other videos, using some Loctite 603, I'm going to turn these studs into bolts. Here I am applying the Loctite 603, then I put the nut in place and screw it down just the right amount so there's a little bit of thread protruding, and I make 12 of these. And they look very neat, and they're all absolutely identical. The nuts are more or less in the same place. When you put them on the engine with washers, they look really good. And by using a socket from your socket set, they are very easy to fit, and remove for that matter. There is, of course, one obvious disadvantage, that the studs are down into wood, so that if you were to be too heavy-handed, you would strip the thread in the wood. So my recommendation is do not be too heavy-handed. And what I'm doing here is removing all the studs. The reason for fitting the studs in the first place like this is just to make sure they fit and they go down into the holes. I do know that all these holes are much longer than they need to be, which is a good thing. And by screwing in all the studs in advance to hold the bed plate down onto the base, I also know that the stud holes are in the correct place. So now I've removed the engine completely from the mounting base again and put it on one side, and what I'm going to use is some of this stuff. This is cyanoacrylate adhesive, or CA glue, or super glue, and I'm running some of this, about 7 drops to be exact, down into each hole. And what this will do, it will soak into the wood and it will harden the threads in there. This system of hardening wooden threads is not ideal, and I must admit that, but for an exhibition-style engine, it's pretty good really. It's a lot simpler. It makes the engine very quick to remove from the bed plate, and provided that you're not heavy-handed when you tighten down the studs, everything will be fine. I would like to say at this stage that I am also aware of alternative methods of fastening studding into wood. What I could do is drill the holes much bigger, thread them, and put big brass inserts that are threaded 2BA, and that would be really substantial. This is the water pump that fits on the bed plate, and the couplings from the water pump have to go to the outside of the engine. Now that the engine is all painted and you can relax, there's no painting in this episode, it's time to fit the water pump without marking the paint. It would be very bad if I marked the paint on the water pump, the bed plate or the column. Initially, the thickness of the paint on the bed plate and the water pump itself made it difficult to get these bolts into place, but with the help of a pair of surgical forceps like this, it was much easier. Once the bolts were in position, I still had to tap them through the paint using a piece of mahogany and being very careful not to mark the paintwork, as you can see. Carefully turning the engine over, I tightened the nuts underneath. One of them proved very difficult to start on the thread, so I used the forceps again for this. With the water pump securely mounted to the bed plate, it's time to make some fittings. I'm using a piece of 1/4-inch pipe that I bent at 90 degrees, a union nut and a union cone, and a special part that I made in the lathe. These components now need to be soldered together, and I'm not going to use soft solder. I could use soft solder because these parts never get hot, it's the cold water system, but soft solder does not have good mechanical strength, so instead, using my blowtorch and some silver solder, I'm going to silver solder these parts together. If you look through my list of videos, there are 2 or 3 videos specifically about silver soldering if you want more details. The flux is important. This is easy flow flux powder, and to make this work you need to mix it with water. I generally pre-mix some in a pot to make it a quicker job. In this clip you can see the consistency that I would mix the flux powder to. Quite thick, almost like thick cream. Here you see the flux that I applied without actually showing you it, and now I'm fitting the parts into the fluxed area of the copper pipe. When silver soldering, it is really important to make sure that you have the union nut on the pipe before you solder the parts together. And now we need some heat and plenty of it. This is a shortened version of the process. As I said earlier, if you want to see more, there are 2 or 3 more videos on my YouTube channel. The time when you touch the silver solder onto the work is critical. You watch the flux. When the flux takes on a watery appearance and starts to run, and the work takes on a dull red heat, that's the time to apply the silver solder. The silver solder I've been using is called Silver Flow 55. These pipes are inside the engine and never seen by anyone, but that's not the point. I still clean them up to get rid of the oxide. I didn't bother putting these in my acid pickle bath, I went straight to the polishing spindle, after which I fitted the silicone rubber piping to them. And then in exactly the same way as in the previous episode, I used a couple of cable ties around the silicone tubing to keep it in place. So that's one of the unions completed. This is the inlet union to the pump. The process for making the water outlet union is identical, and this is the water outlet union. I'm just snipping off the cable ties. As you can see, it's slightly different. It's just a different thread really, but for all intents and purposes they're basically the same. One's an inlet and one's an outlet. I'm using a commercial double union to connect the outlet from the pump to the inlet to the flexible pipe system. When I finally get the thread to engage, that's more like it. Many times when I've done jobs like this, I've forgotten to tighten the union, just left it accidentally finger tight, and I certainly don't want to do this inside the engine, so I'm making sure it's tight. With the engine now sat on the baseboard and the pipes connected up, things are progressing. It's not going to be long now. There aren't going to be that many more episodes. That's it for now. Thanks for watching, and I hope you found it useful. Please take the time to visit my Mainsteam Models website and click on the section of the website that says Video Playlists. And by doing that, you can find other videos that you may like to watch. And by using the playlists, you can actually watch the videos back to back.